Hi there, and welcome to this week's edition of the Gersnet Weekly Podcast, the independent Rangers podcast that is made by fans for fans, and the content is absolutely free. It is episode 72 of the Gersnet Weekly Podcast. I'm your host, Colin Armstrong. We would encourage you to subscribe to the pod, and share on social media. The pod is live tonight. We're on the YouTube Live. But we are also available to download and stream tomorrow on Acast, iTunes, YouTube, Castbox, Stitcher, and Spotify. We had a couple of technical issues earlier on. This is the second go at this, so hopefully all is well and you can hear us. Great day for Rangers today. Absolutely fantastic day. Brilliant. 2-1 win away to Celtic at Celtic Park. Title race blown wide open. Excellent performance from the team. Steven Gerrard got it spot on. So we'll cover all of that. We'll go through all the talking points from today's game. We'll also have a wee look at the Kilmarnock game. I don't think anybody's bothering about that now, to be fair. We look at the Kilmarnock game through the week. And we'll also have a wee discussion about, going forward. There's been stuff in the papers through the week about the future of Andy King and Greg Docherty, some talk about Oliver Giroud being linked to Rangers, and obviously the January transfer windows coming up. So we'll have a wee discussion with the guys that are on tonight about what sort of business they expect Rangers to do. But all the main talking point tonight is about that great win today at Celtic Park. Absolutely fantastic. Rangers fans, wherever you are, I hope you're having the best time, because it's been a long time coming that we got a result over there, and it was thoroughly deserved. We should have won the cup a couple of weeks ago. We didn't, and we've came back absolutely splendid today, and I couldn't be prouder of everyone involved with the club. It was a great day. So let's get in about it. We'll have a look. I'll invite the guests to join us now. First up is David Fraser. Now, David has had some issues with his internet tonight, but hopefully he's still there. David, are you there?
I'm indeed, Colin. Yes, basking in the glory of a superb victory today at the Chamber of Secrets.
Oh, you'll get us thrown off the YouTube. Dearie me, shocking.
Right. I'll watch for that.
But no, great result. Great result and great performance.
Superb. Yeah, as you neatly touched on there, the manager got it spot on. The players were up for it, and they didn't allow Celtic to play at all, and thoroughly deserved their victory.
Did you have a nice Christmas? I suppose we should move away from that a wee bit and just, did you have a nice Christmas? Santa good to you?
I did indeed. Santa's usually always good to me, Colin. Yourself?
I'm a bit surprised at that. I never had you down as a good boy, I must admit. I always thought Santa would maybe give you a wee bit of miss, but no, it's not. I had a good one. Yeah, busy, cooking and all the rest of it, but yeah, it was good. Got a nice watch and a couple of albums and all that kind of thing, so all good.
Went a vinyl from the relatives?
Well, one good one. I got the White Album, so that was good. I really enjoyed that one. So that was a quality present. I enjoyed that one. And also join us, and I've never been on the pod with this man before, but we've sort of had a few chats on Twitter, and we're kind of the same age, and we kind of like the same things, Subbuteo and retro stuff of the 80s and all that kind of thing. It's Iain Duff. How are you, Iain?
Not too bad at all, thank you, Cole.
Not too bad. After that result today, you should be absolutely bouncing.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say, definitely. It's been a long time coming, as you say. So
aye, it has. I think I was in my 30s the last time I felt like this, to be honest with you. But there we go. That's another thing. How was your Christmas?
It was okay. Quite quiet compared to previous years. But yeah, kids are getting older, so it goes a bit quieter. But there you go.
Are your kids at the age now where it's no Santa, it's more trainers and all that kind of thing?
Yeah, money.
Money, yeah. Aye. One thing I've noticed with my kids is you used to come down in the morning and they'd be like, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 boxes each, presents and all the rest. And it'd all be wee things, you'd cover a couple of main things, but it'd all be wee things that maybe cost a tenner and all that kind of thing. But you sort of looked at it based on the amount of parcels. Now there's only a couple of parcels, but both of them cost an absolute force. Is that where you are?
I was definitely getting that way.
Aye, I know the feeling well. I know it very, very well. Right, guys, let's get in about the business today. Again, I'm absolutely hyper. I watched the game myself today. I'd actually overslept and ended up sort of sitting myself, cup of tea and a rolling sausage. Iain, I'll come to you first. The starting 11, I got a text from a mate today saying he felt that Steven Gerrard had went with his strongest starting 11. I thought it was quite a strong 11. I don't know if I'd say the strongest, but what were your thoughts on his starting lineup?
I think the only debate I would have in the starting 11 would have been whether you go for Arfield or Kamara. And I think probably for that game, Kamara's probably the better choice. So yeah, I think it was probably strongest available 11 for the game today. But yeah, I mean, they came out of the blocks absolutely flying, and we've been good in a lot of the games in the first half an hour or so, and it worked that way again today, and they just seem to start really well, and that sets the tone for the rest of the game. It's keeping it going for the whole game. That's the key, really, isn't it? But yeah, but the starting 11 I thought was as good a decision as you could get. I think it was pretty much spot on.
David, what about yourself? I mean, Iain said there the only ones he would maybe question is Arfield. That's the one I would have went for. I'd have questioned, Kamara and Arfield. That's maybe the only two I'd question. But there's also this question about Katic or Hollander. So again, I know Hollander's out, but do you think that's your strongest back four with Katic in
it? I'm not too sure on that one, Colin. I think we've got the luxury now of having a very good squad, whereby we're having this kind of debate. A player drops in, there are two players coming at the starting lineup, and we're actually debating whether it's the strongest starting 11, which is a healthy thing. Something that we've not had in recent years until maybe the latter part of Pedro Caixinha's time and Stevie Gerrard's time. So, but to answer your question, I think there's pros and cons with regards to the centre halves. Obviously, Nico got a very important goal, as we'll come to later on in the show. Scott Arfield, I hear what you're saying about Scott Arfield over Glenn Kamara, what Ian's saying there. I think Glenn Kamara is, in the last 4 or 5, possibly 6 weeks, I've noticed a significant uplift in his game. He doesn't seem to be shrugged off the ball as easily as he was in the early part of the season. So I think it's a flip of a coin. Scott Arfield's a very good player, a very experienced player, intelligent player in terms of his runs. But I think we're in the luxury position of being able to just Arfield drops out, Kamara comes in, or vice versa, and we don't really see too much in terms of the overall level of the side dropping, which is healthy.
Iain, kind of similar to the Betfred Cup final. We started really well. I don't think we created quite as many chances today in the sort of first half hour as we did in the cup final. But the game was played essentially in their half. We played really well, controlled the tempo of the game, controlled possession of the ball. But yet again, there was that feeling we weren't taking advantage of being on top of things. Were you like me? I started to get the fear. At one point, I was like, here we go again. Were you the same?
Well, I mean, I think there was just on the half-hour mark, I think there was a tweet came up from the official Rangers account saying it was 0-0 and Rangers had the majority of the play but hadn't been able to take any chances. And I just read that and I thought, that just puts the fear of God into me, because that was exactly the way the last game went. And then about 5 minutes later, they get, well, not even that, a couple of minutes later, they get the penalty. And that was, I was thinking, here we go, And I really did turn on that, really, to be honest. I think if that had gone the other way, then we could have, we might have struggled. But yeah, it was, there was that sort of deja vu thing again, that just think we're so much in control here. But fair play. And yeah, the way the penalty turned out, it wasn't a goal for them, obviously. So we recovered from that straight away. But the potential there was that it could have just been the same old story again. And it's not even just in the cup final. There's been a few games that we've been totally dominant in the first half an hour, 40 minutes, and then just sort of slackened off slightly at the crucial moment. The Aberdeen game, I suppose, is the classic example of that. But yeah, no, it was a worry, but yeah, no, thankfully that didn't turn out that way this time.
David, Ian's alluded to the penalty there, and it could have been a crucial moment. After such a good start, we've dominated possession, dominated the tempo of the game, as I said. We seemed, there's been talk in the pod previously about game management and how that's we've lacked that. But there seemed to be a good level of that today. We seem to be managing the game well, but just unable to get that goal. And then they get the penalty. The first question I'll ask you is, was it a penalty?
Aye, to the letter of the law, I would say it's a penalty. Nikola Katic gets, he results, he resorts to pulling Julian's jersey, and eagle-eyed Kevin Clancy spies it. So I would say it's a penalty. It would put it this way: if the shoe's in the other foot, which you tend to look at things in that way as well, Colin. If that's our attacking centre half and Julian pulls Nikola Katic's jersey, then I'd be screaming for a penalty.
I think I agree, but the one thing I would say is, how often do these get actually given? That's the question. I mean, it probably is. It is a penalty, no doubt about it. It's a foul, but how often do those fouls get given in penalty areas? Very rarely. So it's just amazing amount of bad luck that it happens when it's a decision against us. But
that's my point. How often? Again, it comes down to a couple of things we've spoken about in the show in terms of the consistency. And I very, very rarely, I can't recall many penalties that have been given for that sort of offence. Now, by the letter of the law, yeah, that is a penalty. But it comes down to the application of that law, and you see it time and time again. Put it this way, I didn't see one Celtic player claim for a penalty. And none of the Celtic supporters claim for it. And yet the whistle goes, and 9 times out of 10, when you see that, when the ball comes into the box at a corner kick and you hear the whistle go, you think, oh, it's a free kick the other way. And he's given it. And another thing I found quite strange, he booked both players. You know what I mean? I found that quite strange. But yeah, by the letter of the law, absolutely, it's a penalty. But again, it comes down to this consistency and the application of that law that's the issue. And that's the big thing I'd question.
I would agree with what you're saying, Colin. I think yes, if you're watching replays of it in the television, it looks blatant. It's obviously slowed down, and it seems, as I say, very blatant. And Clancy had a decent position to view it. Now, you're saying there he booked both players. I think he spoke to defenders and at corner kicks numerous times during the game. So, but I think you've got a point in terms of how it's applied. But penalties should be given for stuff like that. So, as I'm sure we'll come to it later on in the show, it seems that if there's consistency with these decisions, then the majority of football supporters won't have a problem with it.
That's my biggest issue. That said, Ian, McGregor saves it. Now, I suppose you could argue that it wasn't the greatest penalty kick from Ryan Christie, but I don't think it was a bad one. Maybe a decent height for a goalkeeper, but he's put plenty of power in it. And it wasn't too close to the centre of the goal. And the point I'm trying to make here is McGregor. I don't think he's been as integral this season as he has been in other seasons. Maybe that's a sign of we're defending better and we don't rely on him so much. But again, at the big moment, he steps up and pulls that save out.
Well, it just reminded me of the Samaras penalty, however many years ago that was. And you're just wanting your big players to do the job when they're called upon, and McGregor's one of our big players and he's done the job. And it wasn't a brilliant penalty, but it was a free shot at goal from 12 yards out and he stopped it, and that's most goalkeepers wouldn't in that situation. So he's done exactly what you wanted him to do. And at that point I thought, this, I felt the same as I did in the Samaras game as well, that was going to be a major turning point. And I think it proved that. I mean, there was a lot of stuff still happened, obviously, in the game, but that could have been the moment where we crumbled, and it didn't happen. And that's largely down to McGregor pulling off that save. And what I liked as well about it was his reaction after it. He wasn't jumping about, celebrating, cheering, and all the rest. It was just get on with it. We've got a corner here to defend as well, so just get your position and get on with it. And fair play, they did.
Yeah, job done, and let's deal with the next job, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Aye, David. Now, as Iain sort of suggested earlier on, if Celtic score that penalty, the game takes a different sort of path then, and who knows how it would have went. It would have been a big mental blow for the team to recover from. But McGregor makes a save, and shortly after, I think it's only 5 or 10 minutes after that, the goal comes, and it was a great goal. And I mean, Chris Boyd and Chris Commons and everyone at the time talked about, it's a great finish by Kent. But the actual move, see, when you look at it, the move starts in our box. Sort of Davis gives it to Kamara, goes back to Davis, out to Aribo, back to Kamara, on again to Davis. And this is all like wee triangles in our half. And then it goes to Aribo, who sort of puts it down the line to Morelos. He cuts inside, gives it to Kamara. He plays it wide to Jack out to Barisic in, Kent, bang, goal. The move, I think it was like 12 or 13 passes. I'm not saying it was up there with, a sort of Rod Wallace against Dortmund, but it is an excellent move. 12, 13 passes from our own half. At times we're being hemmed in, there's a press going on, and the likes of Kamara and Davis and Aribo, it's all nice one touch, two touch stuff in a triangle. They play it through that sort of press and get it out to, once it gets out to Morelos, once they're out, the chance is on. And it was a great goal, an absolutely brilliant goal.
Definitely. I totally concur with what you're saying. I think that the players, how they're executing there, it's just it backs up. There must be the coaching, has just went up several levels. Mick Beale and Gary McAllister, Tommy Culshaw, what they're imparting to the players, and the players are receiving it. I know Ryan Jack didn't a great game by his high standards this season today, but he was still excellent. For me, Glenn Kamara and especially Stephen Davis in the middle of the park were outstanding. And the way you mentioned it there, when there was a press on, Rangers seem to find space by moving the ball efficiently and precisely, and there's an incisiveness to their passing. How they move up the park. It's good to watch, especially when they speed up. I know sometimes it's difficult when you're getting bogged down and you've got Gordonised 2 banks of 4, or however a team sets up tactically to try and nullify your pass in the middle of the park. But when Rangers move the ball quickly, they've done it in Europe, and then they've done it in some games domestically. But when they move the ball sharply, Rangers can be an exceptional team to watch. Very, very easy in the eye, which is heartening from a supporter's perspective. But the cut back for Borna Barisic lays into a plate, and then Ryan Kent just shows why Stevie was champing the bit to spend money on him to bring him back up the road permanently. So a tremendous goal, and a tremendous fill up for the supporters in the restricted view corner. Especially as you say, after the penalty save, to go up the park and score such a very, very good goal. Was bode well for the rest of the afternoon.
Aye, a big shout out to some of the punters the day, by the way, the 800 in the corner. I saw some of the images, in terms of the view that they had for their 47 quid or their 50 quid or whatever, and it was quite shocking. But they got a great day, so I'm glad they enjoyed it. Iain, these kind of moments make games, and Rangers have got themselves in front. They only held on to it for 4 minutes, so Celtic get the equaliser fairly quickly. The 2 things come out of this the goal for me. One, Ryan Jack's sort of attempted tackle on Edouard. I mean, there was there was 2 or 3 chances to get it off him. I thought, but when it came to Ryan Jack, he had a real chance, and he tried this sort of strange sort of back heel thing to sort of back heel it back up the park rather than just win the ball. What were your thoughts on that? I thought it was a sort of strange tackle.
It was, but I mean, I think by that stage, we should have. I can't remember who the two midfielders who were beaten in the middle of the park before it came through to as far as Jack were, but they sort of unusually sort of walked through them quite easily. Jack sort of dived in, and then I could see what he was trying to do. He was trying to sort of retain possession rather than just pushing it into the path of somebody else. But your first job, I suppose, is to win the ball and get rid of it. So yeah, I mean that was unfortunate, but I mean these things happen. The way the ball broke, and then the goal itself. I mean, apart from, I'm sure we'll come on to talk about whether it should have stood or not. But I mean, it was a fluke more than anything, wasn't it? I mean, it just it hit Edouard and diverted into the net, and that was the only way that I felt that Celtic were going to get a goal at all today, because the Rangers, generally speaking, were snuffing them out pretty easily. So they got a break with the deflection, and then there's a question of whether it should have stood or not. I mean, personally speaking, it looked like a clear handball to me. So to me, it should have been disallowed. But again, incredibly unlucky. The referee didn't manage to spot it. So that's the breaks.
That leads us on to the next sort of topic of debate, and I'll bring the two E's on this. Iain, I'll come to you first. Right after that, I saw lots of Rangers supporters on Twitter saying, we need to introduce VAR. Personally speaking, I'm not a big fan of it. I'm not saying that it's not got its pluses, but how it's being used at the moment, particularly in the Premiership, suggests to me that there's still huge problems around it. And given the sort of parochial nature of the Scottish game, especially when it comes to Rangers and Celtic, I think it would cause more problems than it would solve up here. But I mean, that's just my opinion. I'll come to you first, and then I'll go to David. VAR, yes or no?
Definitely no. I'm not even, whether it works brilliantly or not, I'm not interested in it. I just don't think it's something that we need in the game. I get that there's decisions in this game and decisions in the cup final that we would have benefited from if it had been implemented properly. You question whether or not people are going to be happy with the decisions that are made on VAR anyway. Whether they'll agree with the decision. It's still the same referees and officials that are making the interpretation of it as it would be on the pitch. So yeah, I just don't think it adds anything to the game that we can't live without. I mean, for me, it's just a no. And you look at that game. I mean, I haven't examined all the ins and outs of all the decisions, but even if we had benefited from that decision and that situation, who's to say there wouldn't be other situations throughout the game that we don't benefit from? So what's improved? So we might have got that goal disallowed, but we might have had another goal chalked off for something else. I don't know, whatever. So to me, I just don't think I want it in the game at all. I'm quite happy with the way they are. I'm quite willing to put up with
poor referees.
Decisions go wrong. Well, I would just rather we had good referees. That would be referees making decisions, getting the right decisions. But I'm not going to pretend that that's likely to happen every time for various reasons. But just have to live with it. That to me, overall, I just don't think it's an improvement to the game. I just think it's detracting away from the nature of the game. I know a lot of people will say that it's just a dinosaur attitude, but I'm a dinosaur. I don't mind. I'm quite happy to be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same. What about yourself, David? I mean, the whole VAR thing. I mean, right after the Rangers game today, and you're watching, as I said, and there was a lot of it after the cup final as well. With the offside goal that Celtic got. If VAR was in place, they wouldn't have got it and all that kind of thing. But there was a really, really good example today down in England in the Liverpool Wolves game where Wolves got a goal chopped off where the guy, honestly, I think his pinky nail was an inch offside or something like that, and it just feels to me that it's created more problems down south than it's solved. As I said earlier, I'm not writing it off totally. I don't like it, but I'm not saying that it couldn't be used. But how it's been used at the moment down south suggests to me that it's not working. What about yourself? Do you think we would benefit from VAR up here?
It's difficult to say, Colin. It's a very topical discussion just now with regards to a lot of the controversy that's going on down south. I've seen the incident you referred to in the Liverpool Wolves game. There's been incidents in the game last night between Spurs and Norwich. Obviously, Man City and Wolves a couple of days back. I'm in favour of VAR. If we're using the English implementation of it as a template, then I wouldn't be. I'm struggling to get my head around how it would actually be introduced in Scotland. But would we go down the route of professional referees? It's a complex thing. Is it affordable in Scotland for some of the smaller clubs? I don't know. That's leaving aside, how the kind of parochialism of the kind of refereeing goldfish bowl in the country. If you put me in a spot, would I be in favour of it? Not as it's currently been rolled out in England. I actually thought that VAR, when it was used in the World Cup, actually enhanced some of the games. I like the idea that the referee making the decision, and then if there was any debate over the decision, he would run over the touchline, study a screen, see the replays, and then he would either, he'd make his call, whether he'd made a mistake and overrule himself or whatever. How it's been used down south, I'm not too sure. So I think to answer your question, I would say currently no.
I mean, I would agree. I slightly disagree with the World Cup thing. I found it. I'd actually sometimes think that situation you're talking about when the referee goes over and looks at the screen. I think if he's getting someone in his ear saying you might have got that wrong, it actually puts pressure on him to put the decision the other way. And I think we saw that in the final because France got a penalty, which I didn't think was a penalty. And I don't know. I met Ross Bennett, fellow host from the podcast, just before Christmas. We were going to the young boys game, and he came up with a suggestion that I thought was pretty good, which was he thinks it should be used in a similar way to how it's used in the tennis, in Wimbledon. So you've got 3 challenges. So the referee referees a game. If something happens that one team thinks, actually, you know what, I think there might be something in that, they've got the opportunity to challenge it. I think that would maybe make it workable.
Who makes that shout though? I mean, do you have somebody sitting on the sidelines from your technical staff watching the game on the screen? And I just think, just get on with the game. If decisions are wrong, they're wrong. And I know that when decisions go against you, you hate it, and you want everything to be done that it'll overturn that, and I understand that. But at the same time, it's part of the game. It's just a game, so we just need to get on with it and accept that sometimes decisions are wrong.
I think, sorry, David, I think you're right, Iain. I think part of the sort of driving force behind VAR is supporters and people within the game, managers and players, feeling that, that will sort all the ills, that everything that VAR does will, but it's not. It's also going to work against you. No, the fact that then they will come in Scotland, and there's no doubt about it. But I guarantee you, when the first time it is used in a Rangers Celtic game, to whatever side it benefits, there will be absolute mayhem. I don't mean there'll be riots or anything like that, but I mean, there'll be, the reaction will go through, whatever we've seen in England, it'll be nothing compared to that, because what it's like, already, and this will just magnify the whole thing, and it'll just, people think it'll
it'll solve the problems. It'll wipe out the so-called corruption or whatever you want to call it. But it won't. It'll just shift it to somewhere else, and the same arguments will be held about whether you can trust the people behind the cameras or whether you can trust the people sitting in the room watching it. It's just never going to end. So we might as well just say, look, let's just forget it and get on with it and take it as it comes. That's just my opinion.
David, sorry, you were going to come in there. Sorry.
I was just going to say, lads, I think you could make a case that it's undermining the authority of the referee. I mean, down in England, you see every single decision, every goal, anything that's happens in the penalty box, it's all been re-refereed in the studio at Stockley Park. So I think it's detrimental. So, I mean, a lot of games recently have been lasting 97 and 98 minutes. I mean, so the game's changing. I think the media have got a big part to play here. I mean, they championed the introduction of video technology to get the big decisions correct, and yet the media are criticising the implementation of it. So,
well, that's a really annoying thing now as well, isn't it? Because we've heard for the last 3 or 4 years, they've been pushing it because it's part of their narrative, and they want to have something to discuss and all the rest of it. And now that's turning out to be a bit of a shambles, and a lot of people are reacting against it. Suddenly they're all saying, "Oh, this is terrible. Whoever wanted this in the first place? You're just getting, you're getting what you deserve and all." And it was them that bloody were pushing it in the first place, So
I kind of feel that a lot of this is down to the increased TV coverage of football. When I think back to when I was growing up in the sort of 80s, decisions were kind of just accepted. There wasn't these huge discussions after it. This sort of microscope on the referee's performance in every single decision. Whereas once Sky came in and they had umpteen cameras in every single position of the stadium to see things from 100 different angles, that increased the pressure on referees, and then it increased their knowledge in how many decisions they were actually getting wrong. And then the sort of knock-on effect to that is we need to try and find a solution. So it needs to be, TV evidence and VAR and all this kind of thing. But I think Ian's got a point. I don't think it's so, and how it's been implemented down south shows that it's far from a perfect system. It doesn't solve the ills. It just shifts it, as Ian said. So before VAR, we needed VAR. Now VAR's in down south. Oh, it's an absolute,
we need better VAR.
Yeah, aye, and I think you're right. If it came up here, if something happened in an Old Firm game where VAR stepped in and got it wrong, because it has got it wrong. It's got it wrong on more than one occasion down south. So if VAR came in and got something catastrophically wrong, I think the fallout for that would be enormous.
But they don't even need to get it wrong. I mean, fine well up here that if a decision goes against Celtic, then their supporters will go absolutely berserk, because that's the nature of what they've been doing for the last, I don't know how many years, but certainly my lifetime. I think back as far as the 1987 League Cup final, the 86 League Cup final, as soon as his first League Cup, first trophy, and that game, which was the decisions in that game were all pretty straightforward, and yet you're still hearing about it 35, 40 years later. They're still complaining about the decisions that were happening in that game. So, it's never going to change these kind of that mentality that, if anything, and that's probably why, one of the few reasons why it might not come in Scotland is because it would actually take away one of the big excuses, I suppose, is that they like to rely on. So, maybe we won't see it up here for reasons you might not expect, looking at it from the outside.
So, can we take it that unanimously on the pod tonight that we're saying no to VAR? Ian, no.
Definitely no.
David?
No.
Oh, he must have dropped off. Well, he's gone. David's gone. It looks like David's gone. It's just me and you. It's just me and you from here on in, Ian. It was always a possibility. As I said at the start of the show, his internet was playing up a wee bit, but he's dropped off now. Ian, going into the second half now, given how it had went, and we'd got in front and we'd only held on to it for 4 or 5 minutes, and Celtic have got back in the game. and given what happened in the cup final, going into the second half, there was part of me thinking, I don't know if the players will have it in them to keep going because they're just not getting the breaks. But the total opposite happened. They actually continued from where they sort of left off in the first half and sort of dominated the possession, dominated the tempo of the game, controlled the game very, very well, which I think has shown a maturity to this squad. I think Gerrard's brought them on leaps and bounds in the last sort of 18 months and this this season in particular.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was legitimate questions were being asked about whether the mentality of the team was strong enough and whether the players were bottlers and all this sort of stuff when push came to shove. I read some things saying, when it's come to must-win games, we've fallen that hurdle every time, and that. Maybe that is the case. I think, but certainly in the cup final and a couple of the semi-finals last season, then that definitely was the case, and maybe a couple of games in Europe as well. But I think the European games have been a major assist in that because the young boys game, that could quite easily have really gone pear-shaped. I mean, they nearly did anyway, but we managed to struggle through it, and I think that helped. And then I think just the reaction from the cup final has been impressive because that more than today could have been the real killer blow for the season because as you're up there, you're going for the trophy. By most considerations, we won. We deserved to win the game. We're well on top, by far the better team, but didn't win. And when you see the other team lifting the trophy and you're going off and you don't win it, it can work both ways. It can either drive you on to improve, and then when you come into that situation the next time, then you're ready for it, or it could knock you for six. And when you're up against it the next time, then you remember that and you fail. So I'm glad to say that they've reacted superbly in that from that point, and then today when the chips were down, then they stepped up. You got to hand it to them. I mean, I think the management team has instilled something. They've picked good players, and they've instilled something in them.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I think David's back with us. David, are you there?
I'm indeed. Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, you're back. You're back in the game. We're just talking about just before Rangers equalised, so probably you got the last bit of Ian's chat there. In terms of just before the goal, just before Cattage got the goal, we had a corner kick and a penalty claim where it seemed like Aribo was getting his jersey, hauled off his back. Now, given the decision earlier in the match, David, why is Clancy not given that?
That's the $64,000 question, isn't it? Well, he was eagle-eyed to spy Nico Katic pulling Julian's jersey. How come he can't see Ryan Christie pulling Joe Aribo's jersey? It's inconsistencies, that get people, speaking about inconsistencies and whether referees are competent, etc., etc. That's what drives fans nuts. And fuels conspiracy theorists. But I dare say you've probably talked about the Edwards goal in inverted commas when I was offline.
Yeah, when you dropped off.
I mean that's Kevin Clancy. You got a great view of that. I think Chris Boyd mentioned it in the Sky coverage. That's if the ball comes off, even if it's accidental, it's the goal should be disallowed. So he knows the rules. He applied the rules to the letter of the law with certain situations, but didn't in other situations, which then gets you asking questions about his integrity. So there's absolutely no doubt that Joe Aribo's shirt was pulled and it should have been a penalty. So there'll be other people who will pour over that or not, as the case may be. But yet again, we're talking about the competence of Scottish officials, and we've been talking about that ever since I've been brazen.
We've certainly been talking about it since this pod started 72 episodes ago.
Oh, it's crazy. I mean, we're never done talking about it whenever we join up and speak about the game. So, it's thankfully we didn't fall foul of refereeing decisions today in terms of the overall outcome. But there's no doubt about it. You could be forgiven for coming to the conclusion that Rangers were up against 12 men today.
Well, I mean, we'll come on to discuss Kevin Clancy shortly. He's definitely something that I want to discuss. But we'll talk about a couple of things first. Iain, the goal from Katic himself. Now he's shown. Now again, he's someone we've spoke about in the show previously. He's wholehearted. There are times he sort of throws himself into headers and misjudges them, and takes himself out of the game entirely. Sometimes, he's a bit rugged and a bit rough around the edges. But I mean, he's totally committed. And when you consider the amount of chances we had in the Betfred Cup final, Goldson had more than one chance at set pieces. Hollander had a couple, and they didn't really direct him towards goal. Katic header, it was a peach, absolute peach of a goal.
Yeah, it was an absolute classic. I mean, he totally outjumped the defender, got the header on target. Loads of power in it. Keeper didn't have a chance. He put it in exactly the right place. It was a brilliant cross as well. So I mean, it was almost on a plate for him. But yeah, I mean, you're right what you say. I mean, he's a bit rough around the edges, but he's a wholehearted player. He puts everything into it, and that's exactly what you want. He's not he's not reckless with any stretch of the imagination. I don't recall ever seen him get in a tackle where it would injure an opponent. I don't recall him doing anything dangerous, but he's fully committed all the time, and that's exactly what you want from your defenders, and especially when they get in the other team's penalty area. And I think I saw a stat somewhere saying that Rangers had scored 11 goals from headers this season, which is about 3 or 4 more than anyone else. And when you consider the style of football we play, we're not route one lumping into the box all the time. That would suggest that we're improving in the set piece front as well. So that's a good sign. And I think I mean I had a feeling he was going to score today. I don't know why. He just had that sort of feeling about it. He seemed to be quite dominant in the penalty area and was causing a lot of concerns for the Celtic defence. So and they're big players as well. So I mean he's not going against a bunch of wee guys there. He's in and he's got way above them and got his head onto it, and that's exactly what you want when you're winning these corners. You want to take advantage of it as well as you can.
Well, you're saying you had a feeling he was going to score, but the initial corner, the one where Aribo should have won the penalty, the minute that corner was awarded, my wife was sitting having a cup of tea next to me on the couch. I turned to her and I went 2-1 Katic, and it went right over and out for the other corner kick. And then the second one, when the second one went in, I was like, I tell you. And she's got absolutely no interest in football whatsoever. So I don't know why I was telling her, probably because she was the only one there. But I kind of had a feeling as well. I just think he's a real threat at set pieces, corner kicks and free kicks. And I'll chuff for him because he's been in and out the side. He's had a wee bit of a rougher time of it than he maybe should have, in my opinion. He's been unlucky not to get more game time. So delighted that he got the goal. David, I've got a wee list of players to note for today. Now the whole team played outstanding today, but excuse me, there was 3 or 4 that I thought deserved a mention. Steve Davis, I thought was outstanding today. 2 brilliant goal line clearances. The only sort of chances you would say that Celtic had in sort of open play. Connor Goldson, I thought, he's had a bit of stick, and some of it's been deserved. But I thought today he was absolutely outstanding. Barisic again, the assists and everything he does, he's turned his career around brilliantly at Rangers, and today I thought he was outstanding. Tav again, another one that's had a bit of stick, I thought was outstanding. And Morelos, I know he got sent off. We'll come on to discuss that, and I know he never got his goal, but I thought he led the line superbly well. Thoughts? Anyone that you thought stood out today?
No, I would agree with your list there. I genuinely thought the whole team were excellent. I think Bora Barisic got the man of the match. He just shaded it possibly over Steve Davis. I thought the whole side were excellent. The back line were brilliant. I mean, McGregor saves a penalty. Odson Edward had one shot on target other than the deflected goal that should never have stood. So Alan McGregor's done his job. He was a calming influence at the back. The back line were excellent. I can only recall Julian having one free header where they'd obviously worked on a tactic using Aya to block off Katic picking up Julian at set plays, particularly corner kicks. I concur with what you're saying about Conor Goldson. He's had a sticky patch of late where he was looking pretty jaded, in my opinion. Starting to make some questionable decisions when it came to passes of play. Same with James Tavernier, but you know, I'm not a broken record here with James Tavernier. James Tavernier's up and down the park for the first whistle to the last. So I mean, he's bound to make the odd error, you know, where he's tired or he can't get back in time or whatever, and that tends to be highlighted. But I thought the whole side were excellent. The midfield were excellent. The three players up front were excellent. I thought Ryan Kent was brilliant. Just the way he was running about, covering ground. Same with Joe Aribo. Joe looked a wee bit leggy at times. You know, there were a couple of half chances. I seem to recall one passes of play when Alfie played him in, and the pass was just slightly overhit, and he shanked it, he cut across it. When you're expecting that a player has ability to get at least get a shot in target, I was actually expecting him to score. But you know, that aside, you know, Joe Aribo was good. The whole team were good. I couldn't really pick out one, but if you force me to, I would say a toss-up between Steve Davis and Borna Barris. I'd say Philly Davis just about is, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to disagree with what you're saying there, David. I think everyone to a man, but I do think there was 3 or 4 that really stood out. For me, man of the match was Davis. I thought he absolutely dictated and controlled the tempo in that midfield area. But, you know, they were all sort of stars today, every single one of them to a man. Maybe Ryan Jack aside, I thought he had a poor first half, but he's done so well for us overall that, you know, you can forgive him for that. You know, he was part of that victory today and he done his bit. Every one of them done their bit. So, no, brilliant stuff. And chuff for all of them. Let's get on to one of the main things from today, guys, the performance of Kevin Clancy. Now, going into the last few minutes, Morelos through and goal, takes a dive, second yellow and off. Now, again, going back to what we were discussing with decisions earlier on with the penalty and stuff like that, by the letter of the law and all that kind of thing. But again, it comes down to the application of those laws. One thing I thought Morelos' first booking was a shambles, an absolute embarrassment of a booking. I think Scott Brown buys it. I think Ryan Christie should have been sent off for a foul. He was already on a booking. Basically grabbed Morelos by his manhood and hauled him to the ground. Bolingoli was probably a worse one. You know, he's already been booked, and he takes, I think it was Tav, out the game altogether. No second yellow. He adds 4 minutes on, and I don't know where he got the 4 minutes, but the 4 minutes became sort of 6.5. And, you know, everything about his performance today, even although we won, a lot to criticise about his performance today when it came to how he refereed Rangers players in particular. Iain, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, I think we've spoken about our wanting consistency in decisions, and that's what you're not getting. And that, you know, the Morelos booking, the first one, is a prime example of how many other players would have got a yellow card for that. I mean, I don't think many would have. It was a foul, no doubt about it. But it was, if I remember correctly, it was his first foul. Wasn't anything particularly heavy-handed. It wasn't, you know, he sort of barged into him basically, and Brown, as you say, went down quickly. But you know, these things happen. But it didn't look like a yellow card to me, and you know that then left Morelos sort of on the edge for the rest of the game. And you always I always feel that the referees are so desperate not well, it depends how you look at it, whether you think they're desperate to send them off, or whether you think they're just desperate not to be criticised for not sending them off. And I'm always thinking that once Morelos has had one yellow card, then there's a fairly good chance he's going to pick up another one at some point because of the controversy that will result if he doesn't get one later on. And that's exactly what happened. So like in the previous game where Steven Gerrard said the referee looked like he was desperate to show a yellow card, then that's a red card. That's what it felt like today as well. Thankfully, it was so late in the game that it didn't really matter. So that's good. But it could have been different if it had been earlier on. But yeah, generally speaking, refereeing performances are, when you start to look at them closely, leave a lot to be desired. There's always a few decisions that you would think are strange, to say the least. But I can't. I've now put my stall out against VAR, so there's not much I can do about it. But I would just like to see them actually just do their job properly.
Yeah. David, Kevin Clancy, discuss. Has he dropped off again? David? It looks like he's gone. Oh, well. Iain, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, okay. It's just me and you. He's showing up. I've got 3 participants, but he obviously can't hear us. So we'll just need to go over the 2s again. Yeah, so, I mean, Clancy's performance, I would agree. I mean, some of the stuff I thought was pretty poor today. And in terms of Morelos, we've spoken about this in the pod before. I think he gets refereed to a different standard. I think you're right. I think the narrative around Morelos is so severe, if you want to put it like that I think maybe referees feel that they have to do something. And every time he sort of even bumps into players, it was noticeable today in the sort of early moments of the game. Anytime he bumped into anyone, 3 or 4 Celtic players are running around him, shouting at the referee, expecting some sort of retribution. And I think referees are giving into that. To me, the whole narrative around Morelos has to change. I don't think he's the type of player that he's made out to be. And Kevin Clancy's performance overall, I thought today was pretty poor. But
the thing was going on to Morelos, the narrative was starting to change again after last season. Obviously, there was all the red cards that he got and the controversies that he was dragged into. This season had been completely different until maybe about a month ago, and then we suddenly started to get in a little bit more sort of focus on things that he was supposedly doing or not doing in certain games and things that had happened, and you just felt that there was this sort of momentum building up again, that with this game on the horizon, that the focus was going to be on them again. And you just even just the coverage of the games, when he's involved with something, you get the instant replay, you get the close up, the discussion from the co-commentator, the pundits at halftime will talk about it. 10 a penny incidents that happen during the game otherwise would get ignored because there's other important stuff happening, but when it's Morelos that gets focused on, and that's the narrative that's been created around him, and it's noticeable even from people. I live down in England, and last season people were, understandably, because they only see the sort of headlines, that Morelos, he sounds like a right lunatic, blah, 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 sent off again. Well, I was discussing with someone in my work recently, and he was saying, he's really turned around, things have completely changed to what's happened. And I said, well, it was never that bad to start with, but he just gets treated in a different kind of way than other players. And he was saying, yeah, you're right enough. And then after the Hibs game, he came on and said, you're absolutely right. That's exactly the he's any other player would not have been sent off for that, that incident against Hibs. And he was completely agreeing with what I was saying about how he's treated in a different way.
Well, it totally is. And that was shown again today. But I suppose the main thing is it's not been detrimental to the result. We've got through it. But Aye, I just think we need to sort of look at. I don't think VAR's the answer to all this. I think it's better officials, and don't want to go down the road as I said previously of saying, referees are against Rangers and all this kind of thing. But the standard of referee in this country is shockingly bad. However, today, Iain, big statement. In terms of, I don't know how you feel. I mean, I can remember when Rangers won 2-0 under Souness on the New Year's Day game at Ibrox. It was at Ibrox, not at Celtic Park, but we beat them 2-0 that day. McCoist and Fleck scored, and it felt like a turning moment. When you look back in that season as a whole, that was the season we won it for the first time after 9 years, and that game was pivotal. I felt, it really put out a statement. I'm not saying we're going to win the league, but I think we've put out a statement that we're in a battle for the league here. Is that how it felt to you?
I mean, it's funny you should mention that game, because that was exactly was going through my mind today as well. I was thinking that was a game that Souness absolutely bossed it, and had them running around all over the place, and it was 2-0 going on 6-0, one of those kind of games. But I felt, I wouldn't say it was quite as one-sided as that today, but I felt that was the same kind of statement. The only frustrating thing for me today is that because we've got a game in hand, we're still behind them. So if we were level on games and we'd won that extra game already, and we would now be ahead, that I would feel much more confident and pleased and delighted than I am at the moment. So at the moment, I'm still thinking, well, we're still behind, so we need to, sort of win that game. And that's going to be the key, isn't it? Is coming back after the winter break and continuing the momentum and trying to get that continuing on after the winter break. Because that was where I think things fell down a wee bit last season. Was we won the game before the break against Celtic, and then came back and lost, I think, to Kilmarnock, and that sort of took the momentum straight out of it.
I think David's back with us. David, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. At that point that Ian's just made, how important, we're going into the winter break now, as Ian's pointed out, we won the game on the 29th last season, put ourselves in a fairly decent position, and then the first game back after the winter break. Now, there was mitigating circumstances because we never got the Scottish Cup game against Cowdenbeath, so we went into that Kilmarnock game slightly cold. Don't think that will happen this time, because the game against is it Stranraer, that game's at Ibrox, so regardless of the weather, it would take a lot for it to be called off at Ibrox. So you would imagine we would have our game under our belts before the next league game. But even still, how important is it we can continue this momentum now and really hold their feet to the fire?
Oh, it's vitally important. That goes without saying. I think, you're touched on there, Colin. We've got a run of games coming up where I think 4 of the next 5 league games are at Ibrox. We play Stranraer on the Friday night, and then the next midweek we've got St Mirren at Ibrox. Then I think we play our game in hand against Ross County, and then we've got Aberdeen, and then beg your pardon, I think we play Hearts away at Tynecastle, and then we play Aberdeen and Hibs at Ibrox. So we've got an opportunity to rack up some points at home. But with regards to coming back from the winter break, I think last season, obviously, the first game back was in my opinion, the first sign of a real naivety for Stevie Gerrard in his first season as a manager, when we went into Rugby Park, and against our closest rivals beneath us in the league, away from home, on a shocking plastic surface, and played 2 guys who hadn't kicked a ball for months, and Stephen Davis and Jermaine Defoe. Even though Defoe obviously scored his first goal that night. So I think Stevie will have learned from that. He's made mention of that in some of his press conferences, or media conferences with the club's TV channel. So I think he realises that it's imperative that we don't stumble and make the same mistakes again, and I fully expect him not to. This team are growing. I mean, you guys have been speaking about it all season. We've been playing really, really well in Europe. We've not been outclassed by any manner of means in that arena. We're going up against a good side today that's obviously playing at home. They've won 10 out of the last 10 trophies, a successful side, and we've bossed them. You know, in the second time in the space of 3 weeks, we've played them off the park in many respects, over 180 minutes. So, I think that there's a different feeling. You guys have mentioned it there, harking back to the game at New Year and Graham Roberts' first Old Firm game at Ibrox. And that day was momentous in terms of that season. And I think, you know, there are certain parallels with today's game, but obviously getting that monkey off our back in terms of winning at their place is another step in the normalisation in the playing side of Rangers. So I fully expect us to go on and do the business. I think it is pretty helpful that we've got a Scottish Cup game at home against lower league opposition to get us back into the swing of things. I know Stevie said that they're going to play a bounce game in Dubai, just to make sure that they're keeping the engine ticking over, so to speak. So I'm confident coming back in January, Colin.
Yeah, I would agree. Absolutely. I think you're right. I think Steven Gerrard sounds like a man, and I think we've discussed this again a couple of times in the pod. We've discussed that he's evolving as a manager. You know, he does seem to be someone who's learning from his mistakes. Looks to me like he got through last season and at the end of it knew where the issues were, and that's where he strengthened. And I think it's vital that we continue that momentum. I think the game against Stranraer on the Friday night, easing us back into it, and probably that bounce game you mentioned should help as well. Guys, conscious of time, so I'm just going to ban the Kilmarnock game from the agenda, because I think we can all agree that we played fairly well. We deserved to win. Morelos was onside. Job done, really. So we can ban that. I'll try and do a quick 2 or 3 minutes before we wrap things up on the January window and movement, players in and out. Iain, there's been a few things in the paper over the last week that I've seen. You know, Andy King looks to be heading out in January. Greg Docherty, he also looks to be on his way out. We've been linked with Olivier Giroud. We'll start with Andy King. Would you make of that situation?
It's just not really worked out, has it? So, I mean, you know, I wouldn't be at all surprised if he goes. I think it's almost certain that he is going to return to Leicester and probably move on from there to somewhere else for the rest of the season. There's no major problem with it, I don't think. You know, we brought him in. If he was required, we would have used him. But obviously, he's not better than any of the players that we've got playing. So, you know, if we don't need him, you know, get him off the payroll and get and use that money for something else or whatever. With Greg Docherty, I don't know. I mean, he did well on loan. Was it Shrewsbury he was with?
Shrewsbury, yeah.
And he did well there, but I mean, you look at the level that they're playing at. I know we do the Scottish game down sometimes, but I mean, we're way above that level, and the expectations are so much higher. So, you know, I'd love him to do well at Rangers, because he's obviously living the dream. But you know, there's no room for sentimentality, I suppose. But you know, I wouldn't be at all surprised to see him go out on loan again for the rest of the season. Whether he's going permanently or not, I don't know. But I would be surprised if he's still playing for the rest of the season. Giroud, to me, is pie in the sky. It's never going to happen. I'll be happy to be proved wrong, but I don't think it's going to happen.
David, in terms of the overall business in January, I mean, Gerrard has spoke previously about a need to trim the squad, and I think our new director of football, Ross Wilson, has said the same. So, are you expecting more outs than ins?
Yeah, like yourselves, I think there will be a fair degree of squad trimmage.
I like that word, trimmage. I like that, David. I like that.
I was about to mention this is the first window we were actually going to see Ross Wilson in action in the transfer market. So I dare say part of his remit, where possibly Mark Allen fell down, was the kind of failure to move some fringe players on. I think over and above the three guys that you've mentioned, I think possibly Jack Annett could be moving to Blackpool for a nominal fee. He's already there on loan. I fully expect Wes Foderingham to move on. It might not happen in this window, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did. I think also Mark Polster, much to the consternation of the Rangers support with regards to his missus, could find he's moving on. So I'd like to see what they've got up their sleeve. I think with regards to the Olivier Giroud situation, and first when you hear about it at first, you're thinking it's possibly pie in the sky. Conspiracy theorists might go, well, does that mean that Morelos is possibly moving to Chelsea? That's a big leap there. That's just me, possibly putting two and two together and coming up with 50, never mind 5. But I'd be surprised if Olivier Giroud came in and someone didn't move on. But I fully expect Ross Wilson to pull a rabbit out of the hat. I think that's part of a big part of his remit. Obviously, the kind of youth side of his job is pretty big, but he's been tasked with moving on players. I feel sorry for Greg Docherty to an extent. I think that the managers went on record with some of his press conferences and said that he feels for him, that he just can't get him into the side. Andy King, it's just not happened for him. I think he broke down with an injury during the last couple of months, and he just not found a way into the squad. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in January. It'll be interesting to see how we go about our business. Obviously, I think one of the big things that, without extending the show too long here, I think one of the big things that since Gerard's come in is a lot of things don't happen in the papers. It's almost the polar opposite for the way David Murray conducted business. That we are, as a fan, you were picking up the tabloid press and you were linked to players constantly. Obviously, times have changed with transfer windows and whatnot, but I like the way Rangers are going about their business. It tends to be that we hear something and then a player gets signed, or vice versa. We hear something and a player exits. So it'll be interesting to observe how we go about the transfer window.
Yeah, I agree. I'm quite looking forward. I expect more outs and ins, I must admit. I do think, like yourself, David, I think there might be a wee surprise coming. That might just be me wishful thinking. I don't know. The one I do feel sorry for is, I'm probably going to agree with you, the two E's here, is Greg Docherty. I just think he's just been really unlucky. The players that we've signed in that area of the park, he's just not been able to get in and nail down a position and sort of grow into becoming a Rangers player. It's just not happened for him. So I do feel for him, because as Iain said, he's a Rangers boy, and he's sort of living the dream, and those are the ones you want to see make it. But I think I've kind of come to the conclusion that it's probably not going to happen for him, certainly not in the near future. So if it's not a loan deal, I think he'll definitely go out on a permanent move. And I think we'll call it time there, guys. We're a wee 10 minutes over, but I totally expected that, because it was a great day, an absolutely brilliant day. Lots to talk about, lots to get through. Brilliant result at Celtic Park, so happy to extend the show by 10 minutes or so. So that's all from this excellent episode of the Gersnet Weekly Podcast, the independent Rangers podcast, which is made by fans for fans, where the content is absolutely free. Now, big thanks to David and Iain for their contributions tonight. Thanks very much, guys. And I wish them both a happy new year. I would also like to extend that thought to everyone who's contributed to the podcast through the year. So Ross Bennett, David Wren, Stuart Weir, David Tomlinson, Christine Somerville, Lewis McMillan, John McCallum, Ian Leeper, David, and the boss Frankie and Iain as well. To everyone who's contributed to Gersnet, I hope they have a great new year and that they had a great Christmas. To all you listeners and everyone who's contributed tonight on the YouTube chat section, I hope you have a great new year as well. I hope you're enjoying your night. I hope you're having a few beers and celebrating a great result for Rangers. No show next week probably because obviously it's the winter break. We'll probably be back the week after that. In the meantime, however, get yourself onto Gersnet and the forums at www.gersnet.co.uk. Wherever you are, Bears, have a great night, have a good few beers, and let them know that we are the people. And until next time, bye for now.